Back to the Future has been one of the greatest movies made in 1985 and directed by Steven Spielberg. Just until 4 years later came Back to the Future Part 2, and then 1 year before Back to the Future Part 3. Now, in the films, the DeLorean has been used as a time travel machine to go through to go travel through time. Like say from 1985 to 1955, that will be like going back in time. And then in the second film, the DeLorean had been used for fuel, such as for composts. And even though the DeLorean did, even though the DeLorean flew in the and hovered and had flying circuits, but and then 1 year later, when Back to the Future Part 3 had came out, the DeLorean had lost the flying circuits, even when it was struck by lightning, and the flying circuits were destroyed. Now I've made two avatars now to make them look just like Marty McFly and Doc Brown. So as I would know for sure, the DeLorean had been used for nuclear reactor, and the DeLorean had also been used for compost for fuel. And the DeLorean would travel on train tracks. And about the DeLorean, this is a Hot Wheels DeLorean. And that's compared to the time travel DeLorean. But this one is way more regular, as you can never tell, even though with an engine in the back, just like all the other DeLoreans do. Back to the Future Part 1, 2, and 3 were filmed in Los Angeles, California, but also a few other places and cities in California. Now I'm gonna start the video.
It's too hard.
I'm gonna start from the beginning.
I don't want to hide from them anymore. What do we do?
The video will start after this app. There we go.
You know, there are hundreds and hundreds of science fiction movies out there, but hardly any film has achieved such a cult status as Back to the Future. First released in 1985, the trilogy has millions of fans all across the globe, and Back to the Future is also one of the few science fiction movies that has been caught up by reality. As you might know, the second part of the series shows a fictional version of the year 2015.
They say that the fictional version was
in and around Los Angeles. And today is time to find the famous shooting locations and to see how they have changed within 37 years.
You hear that? Everything's been changed after 37 years. There's going to be a lot more to see about how everything was changed in LA.
I just arrived at the first shooting location for today, which is also the first scene that you can see in the movie Back to the Future. If you remember the beginning of the movie, Marty visits Doc Brown in his creepy old shed or whatever that is, and then he drives away with the skateboard. And in this scene, you can see a Burger King, and I found it. That one over there. Yeah, but we won't start with the Burger King. We will start, as in the movie, with Doc Brown's creepy old garage. You can see in the movie a lot of times. And there are some fascinating facts about this garage, because it really exists in reality, but at a different place, in a different year. Well, yeah, it's quite complicated. But the funny thing is, right here at this place, right next to this Burger King, there is no old shed, as you can see here. This was just a set they built for the movie, and they demolished it when finished. But you can still see
It was built and then demolished when it finished.
on the left, those yellow parking spaces, and you can still see this entrance for cars in the middle. There's a huge parking space behind the Burger King parking space.
That was just part of the movie set.
Right in the middle of this entrance, they have built this garage. You can still see that the power pole on the left side of the picture is still here. You can also see that the company building on the right side was also here 37 years ago. And what you can also see is this strange asphalt of the Burger King parking space. There is some kind of a weird line that goes through this parking space. Do you see that? I don't know why. Maybe it's for rainwater or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, this strange line is still here in reality 37 years later. In this scene we can see Marty driving his skateboard across the Burger King parking lot, and that has been filmed from over here. In this scene we can also see this building in the background, that you can also see the movie had a slightly different color in the past. And in this scene we can also see what kind of building this actually is. In the past it used to be a Toys R Us store. Today it's a shop for home accessories. And this is the Burger King scene as we know it from the movie, and here we can also see the Burger King restaurant itself. And if we take a closer look, we can see today it has some kind of a porch at the front of this building. You see that? That hasn't been here 37 years ago. But if we take a closer look, the building itself is still the same. It has a different color, it looks totally different, it has a porch, but it's obviously exactly the same building. What you can also see is that the logo sign of the Burger King has changed. We can see a tree on the sidewalk that hasn't been here 37 years ago, and there's also a palm tree in front of the Burger King restaurant that also hasn't been here in the past.
Now that's precisely what I know for
The
sure.
camera pans to the right, and here we can see there is a huge building on the right that also has been here 37 years ago, even though in the past this obviously was a printing company. At least there was a sign with the name printing on it. I don't know. Today it's home of the F-22 studios. You can also see on the left side of the picture there are a few different signs of shops here. For example, Toys R Us. Obviously it's not here anymore.
Of course, it used to be there.
Also, the German
But not
supermarket
anymore.
Aldi has a store in the street. I, to be honest, didn't even know that Aldi, a company from my home country, has stores in the United States. But well, now I know, and I would say now let's move on to the next shooting location.
That was just my son. Now you're going to see the next location that appeared on the movie Back to the Future.
Before we move on to the next shooting location, I think I have to disappoint you first. Yeah, that's life. I'm pretty sure you also clicked on this video to see Hill Valley, you know, the fictional village that you can see in the movie Back to the Future a lot of times. The problem is, it's not only the village that's fictional, it's also the shooting location that is fictional. Is that the right sentence? But I don't know. It's not a real place. Hill Valley is actually a studio set in Universal Studios, and it's still there. You can still visit it. If you do a guided tour in Universal Studios, you can still visit the set from Back to the Future. But well, I decided not to visit this studio set today. I decided only to visit places that you can also
They say that Hill Valley is a studio
the
set
next place on the list is
from Universal.
as important as Hill Valley. It's of course the living house of Marty McFly and his family. It should be in the street over here. Let's try to find it. Yeah, I hope you're ready for the big moment. This is the house of Marty McFly and his family as we know it from the movie, and this is how it looks today in reality. You can see the
Now,
house has
now that's exactly what's compared to the house
in the past it used to be
from
red,
the movie.
brownish. Me as a European, I would say.
Red, brownish.
Swedish wooden house. Yeah. It's not like that anymore.
And now they
What
changed the
is
color.
here are those two huge power poles roads right behind this famous house, and also the tree on the right side is still here, even though it's much bigger 37 years later. The structure of the house is basically the same as you can see here. There are only a few new windows and doors if you take a closer look. The only thing that really has changed here is the nature, because right now in California it's so hot and dry. It obviously wasn't like that in the movie. You can see a lot of green around the house. It's much greener. There is basically no grass anymore because it's so hot and dry right now. This is the street we all know from the movie. Marty is coming with his skateboard that has been filmed from over here. You can see almost nothing has changed. There's still this house on the left side. There are still those trees on the left and on the right side of the road. They are much bigger than they used to be 37 years ago. There are still those parking spaces where people park their cars on the left and on the right of the street. Today, of course, the cars are much more modern, but yeah, everything else looks quite the same here. This is a scene filmed in daylight at the end of the movie when Doc Brown comes to visit Marty. That has been filmed from here, and also here we can see not that much has changed. In this scene, it gets a bit tricky because there is this huge tow truck right in front of Marty's house because Biff damaged the car, as you might remember. And in reality, you can see here on the right side there are a lot of trees and bushes and stuff like that, so that we don't really see this house anymore that you can see in the movie scene. There's also a wall and a gate and a fence and stuff like that. Yeah, it looks totally different than it used to 37 years ago. Marty is hanging cool on the garage door. Unfortunately, we can't film the scene like in the movie because, of course, this is private property. We can't go into the garage. But anyway, this is the house we can see in the movie in the background.
That's what they say. It is private property.
Yellowish. Today, it's more gray, white. Here's the Chaos Squad all together. This scene has been filmed from over here, and here, once again, we can see it's much more dry. There is basically no grass right beside the sidewalk. This scene is quite funny because right behind Doc Brown there is a blue building, obviously a garage, and this blue building is still here. Look at this. It looks even more blue than in the past. But obviously this garage door that you can see right behind Doc Brown is white. In the past it used to be blue. And this is the last scene I want to show you.
Used to happen.
This place, the DeLorean goes back to the future, and I would say we will also go back to the future now. Let's move on to our next filming location.
Alright. Now on to the third filming location.
Time to visit the next famous living house. This time it's Doc Brown's house, which to be honest looks quite funny in the movie Back to the Future, and well, it's still like that 37 years later in reality.
And they
But
said
actually,
that,
this house is not funny.
and that it was
It's
just
an
pretended that Doc
architectural
Brown's house was
masterpiece.
burnt.
It was built in the year 1908 as a living house
It was only
for
pretend.
David E. Gamble, who was the son of James Gamble, who is the founder of Procter and Gamble, a huge
And
US
of course
company.
that was from
So
the,
that's why this
first
house
that
is
ought to
also
happen on
called the
part one of Back to
Gamble
the Future.
House. Today there are no rich dudes living here.
And also
anymore.
part
This house
3
is
of
a
Back to the
historic
Future.
landmark. You can visit it. There are guided tours.
But on part one, it was only pretended that the mansion was burnt down.
Obviously, not that much has changed within the past 37 years. The house still looks quite the same. Here in the movie scene, you can see Doc Brown on the right side running around in his garden with a lot of stuff. What we can see here is there's some
I'm
kind
gonna
of
check how long.
orange tree or apple tree or something like that on the right that obviously isn't here anymore. And we can also see that there needs to be some kind of wall overgrown by ivy.
So about 23
in
minutes.
the past that also looks a bit different today. And now it gets interesting. If you remember the beginning of this video when we were standing right beside the Burger King and we didn't find Doc Brown's old shed, well, ta-da! Here it is. Meanwhile, we're in the year 1955 in the movie, and in reality, here in 2022, there really is this old garage. As you might remember in the movie, they say that Doc Brown's living house, the Gamble house in reality, burned down in the 1960s and only the garage was left, when in reality we can see, no, the Gamble house didn't burn down and also the garage is still here. Even though the doors are a bit different, take a closer look, it's not a garage anymore, some kind of weird professor. It's the bookstore. But yeah,
It
the
used to
structure
be a
of the house,
garage,
and also the color
but now it's
are
called a
still the
bookstore.
same.
It's been turned
Here's
into a
Marty
bookstore.
standing at the entrance of Doc Brown's property, and we can see this entrance to the garage and to the living house is paved with bricks, like it used to be 37 years ago. What isn't here anymore is the number on the left side of the picture. The vintage car Doc Brown is driving, obviously, is also gone, but the tree on the right side is also still here. And this is the last scene I want to show you from this place. We can see Marty walking towards Doc Brown's house, and what you can see here is the bush, or the little tree on the left side of the walking path is also still here, or it's a different bush, I guess. I think it's a different bush. But yeah, the walking path itself still looks exactly the same like it did 37 years ago. So, we're back in the next very quiet Los Angeles living area. This is the street where we should find Lorraine's house, and maybe also the tree where her future husband and Marty's father is sitting on to spy through the window. Yeah, let's try to find it. Yeah.
No, the next part we're going to get to.
From the movie, and this is how it looks like
Lorraine
today.
Baines' house.
37 years later, what we can see is the color of the house is different. It's gray, greenish. In the past, it used to be white, gray. What we
Greenish,
also can
grayish.
see is that the tree
Even
on the
after
right
it
side,
was
right in front of
whitish,
its
grayish.
window, is still here. And what we also can see is that the residents of this house obviously have soft spots for flowers or flower pots, because there are a lot of them standing right in front of the door. And what we can also see is that obviously the room behind Lorraine's window isn't used anymore as a living room or as a bedroom or something like that, because there's a lot of stuff standing right behind this window, which is quite funny to be honest. And obviously the people living here don't give a shit that this is a famous movie scene from Back to the Future, which is also a statement, I would say. On the other side of the road, we will find a huge tree, and this might be the tree where George McFly was lying on to spy through the window. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe this left branch you can see here in reality might be the branch George McFly was lying on. In the movie, it looks a bit different. It looks a bit like this branch is like, I don't know, lying across the road or something. It's definitely not like that in reality. But yeah, maybe it's because of the camera position. I have the feeling that this left branch you can see here in reality, this might be the branch where George McFly was lying. And here we can see George McFly falling from the tree that has been filmed in this street over here. You can see, yeah, the street almost looks the same like it did 37 years ago, even though the cars parking on the left and on the right of the road, of course, are a bit more modern than in 1955. Here's Marty McFly coming to rescue his dad, and yeah, this scene was a bit tricky, but then I finally found this house Marty is standing right in front of. It's this house over here, and why is that? Because this house has some kind of an archway on the right side. If you take a closer look here, in the past it used to be overgrown by ivy. It's not anymore. There were also some bushes right in front of the veranda of the house. They are also not here anymore. And the house
Of course,
also
that's where the
has a
bushes
new
used to be.
door. If you take a look at the left, in the past it used to be white. Today this house has a brown door. But if you take a look at the
Of course,
structure
that's
of
what
the
the
house,
house used to have,
you
was a
can
white
find it.
door,
Yeah,
and now it's a brown
it's
door.
exactly the same like the house you can see in the movies. In this scene, you can see a bit more of this house and of the area around it. And what you can also see is a huge here 37 years ago, and it's still here, and it's even more beautiful. Even though the area around it in the past was definitely much greener than it is today. This is one of the first scenes we can see in this scene. Marty is coming out of the bushes, and then he runs to the tree that his dad is lying on. This scene has been filmed from over here, and also this house still exists, and also the color has changed. In the past it used to be white gray. And this is the last scene I'm going to show you from this place, and I'm not 100% sure
Now for
where
the
this
last
scene has been
scene.
filmed, because you can see a huge hedge on the right side, and in reality it looks like this. I think this could be the place where I filmed this scene. We can also see a hedge on the right side, but it's much smaller than in the movie. But I think this could be the scene because you can see a lot of trees in the background, and those branches of the trees, they hang over the pedestrian sidewalk. So you can also see that in the movie scene. So yeah, maybe this could be the place they have filmed this scene.
Now for the next shooting location. Now this is what
The
reminds
next
me of Twin
location
Pines
is a
Mall.
tricky one. As you can see, obviously it's the parking space where Marty does his very first time travel. It was not that hard to find the parking space itself, but it's quite hard to find the exact location where all those scenes have been filmed. And I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was this side, the south side of this huge mall you can see here, and also in the movie. Yeah, let's see if we are standing right here. Yeah, I think we're absolutely right here. This is the famous mall from the movie Back to the Future, which in reality is not the Twin Pines Mall. In reality, it's the Puente Hills Mall. And
Puente
I was a bit
Hills
confused
Mall.
first because if you take a look at the huge building on the right, you can see it has a different color. Obviously, it's orange. In the past, it used to be red, purple-ish. But it looks also quite tiny in the movie. You see that? And I think this is not because we're standing at the wrong parking space or something like that. This is exactly the place. I think this is because they used some kind of a wide angle lens for the movie. If you take a look at the background, it looks a bit round, and that's an effect you can get from such a wide angle lens. And that might also be the reason why this building on the right side looks a bit tiny compared to the reality. You can also see that in reality this building looks much higher. I think that's because of the dark sky. You can't really see the top of this building. So I think the reason why it looks so different is just an illusion. By the way, this building is a gym. In the past it used to be a JCPenney department store. On the left side, in reality, we can see a fashion store. What we can also see is there are a lot of palm trees on this parking space today in reality that haven't been here 37 years ago, obviously. But in the movie scene, you can see a few quite small trees around this building, and they obviously are not here anymore, or at least most of them are not here anymore in this parking space. In this scene, we can have a closer look at this huge building on the right side, and by the way, JCPenney is not a fake shop, a fake store like the Twin Pines Mall. It's a
I've been in so many
US
terms.
department store chain, and a quite traditional one. It was founded in 1902 by James Cash Penny. That's why it's called JCPenney. Unfortunately, during COVID in 2020, this department store chain had to file for bankruptcy, and they had to close a lot of branches. And also here, right next to the Twin Pines Mall, there is no JCPenney supermarket today anymore. As I said, it's a gym building. Here's Doc
Where
Brown
JCPenney
standing
used to
right
be
in front
there.
of the JCPenney
And now it's
building at his
gym.
here. The funny thing is, there is still this lantern on the right that also has been here 37 years ago in the movie scene. And the trees right in front of the building are much higher today than they used to be in the past. Here's Marty Marty and Doc Brown standing in front of those buildings over here. Once again, we can see the entrance of the Twin Pines Mall, of Puente Hills Mall on the right, and another huge building on the left. I don't even know what that is. There is no sign or something like that in front of the doors. Yeah, but also here we can see there are a lot of palm trees right in front of those buildings that obviously haven't been here 37 years ago. What is also quite interesting, to be honest, is this video camera Marty is filming with. I'm standing here filming with an iPhone. It's quite fascinating what has changed within 37 years, right? This scene has been filmed from over here, and once again we can see the JCPenney building in the background, and we can also see some barriers on the ground of this parking space in the movie scene that don't exist anymore today. And this scene is also quite interesting, to be honest, because here we can see a building in the background that obviously isn't here anymore in reality. This should be the perspective, because on the left we can see Doc Brown's truck that we already saw in the first scene from this parking space. So this must be the perspective, but the building in the background obviously isn't here anymore. Well, and before I left this huge parking space, I went into Puente Hills Mall, or Twin Pines Mall, because I had to go to the bathroom. And to be honest, this is the saddest shopping center I've ever seen in my whole life. A lot of stores in this mall are closed. There's absolutely nothing going on here. But if you take a close look at the hidden corner in this shopping center, you will find this famous sign. I don't know if it's the original sign from the movie or if it's a fake sign, but actually it doesn't matter.
I do believe it's placed on display.
Is dying, this famous sign is still here, and I think that's all we need, right? Okay, I never liked going to school that much. Today I do, because I just arrived at Hill Valley High School, which is over here, and in reality it's called Whittier Union High School.
Whittier Union
If you
High
are
School.
wondering why the heck is this guy standing in front of
That's why it used to be called Hill Valley High School.
Well, the problem is school was already out when I arrived here, so the whole schoolyard was locked. There wasn't anybody who could let me in, and also
That's
the
called
school
Whittier
building
Union
obviously
High
was
School.
closed. The good thing is, obviously, at least that's what I read on the internet.
Just like when Margaret Isfeld used to be called Courtney Junior High. Just until 2001, it was called Margaret Isfeld Secondary School.
If the school is open, it should be possible to visit it during the day. Unfortunately, when I arrived here, it was closed. So unfortunately, we can only visit the buildings from the outside. The interesting thing about the school building is in the movie, they show you different versions of this school building. For example, there are a lot of scenes that show the school in 1985. In this scene, there is a lot of graffiti at the entrance door of the school building. In the year 1955, there isn't any of that. The school building looks brand new. What you can also see in the movie scenes, there are some lanterns on the left and on the right of this school entrance. They are not here anymore. Maybe they just put them here for the movie scenes, but there are definitely no lanterns here. There are also no bicycles here in front of this school entrance, as you can see it in the movie. And of course, the Hill Valley High School in reality is the Whittier Union High School, so they of course changed the sign at the top of the building. What
That's why they
change
changed
is
the sign.
administration sign that you can see here above the door, and also here above the door in reality.
So it isn't called Hill Valley High School anymore.
I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it's 39 degrees again. This is is the last shooting location I want to show you today.
Now for the last
it's a
shooting
private
location.
street. I'm pretty sure I'm not even allowed to be here. This is where they have filmed the year 1955, where Marty arrives with the DeLorean and he's trying to find his living area, but he only finds two huge signs that say Line Estates and a dusty road. Yeah, that scene was filmed somewhere here on this private road. Let's try to find it. Yeah, this private road actually belongs to a model airfield, and this area
So that's
around
what,
is also quite
and that's
interesting
exactly what the
because
private
even
road
though
belongs
it
to.
doesn't look like it, there is
Airfield.
some kind of a lake nearby, and also an RV campsite, and also, and that makes this place a little bit creepy, a women's prison. Yeah, so if you drive along this road, you will see a lot of fences with barbed wire on it and a lot of security stuff. So, yeah, for some reason, yeah, this place is a bit creepy, to be honest. And once again, it's 40 degrees out here. Even my phone died because it's too hot. Anyway, let's do what we have to do. Let's try to compare the movie scenes. And this is one of the scenes we all know from the movie. Marty is searching for Line Estates, his residential area, and then he walks for 2 miles to Hill Valley. And that has been filmed somewhere over here. Why is that? Because we can see some kind of a water tower in the background that you can also see here in reality, which maybe belongs to the women's prison. I'm not really sure, but yeah, somewhere in that area there is the women's prison, so maybe this water tower belongs to it. What we can also see is in the movie scene there is a lot of grass on the left and on the right, right beside the road. It's not here anymore. On the left there is a little bit of grass, but behind that there is a huge sandy field with nothing on it. On the right side we have corn cultivation, and what you can also see is that there are road markings in the middle of the road in the movie scene that are also not here anymore. I was wondering, was this maybe some kind of a busy road in the past and they don't use it anymore? Because I haven't met a single person and a single car here while I was standing here. There's nothing going on here anymore. I'm in the middle of nowhere. What speaks against this theory is that there are power poles on the left side of the road that haven't been here 37 years ago. So there must be some kind of civilization around which hasn't been here in the past. And what's also quite interesting, if you take a look at the horizon, you will see in the movie scene there's nothing to see there. In reality, we can see a huge mountain range in the background. Obviously, while they shot the movie, it was quite hazy, so that you don't see the mountains. In reality, you can see there is a huge mountain range in the background at the horizon. And this is the reverse shot. Marty is coming with his DeLorean, and that has been filmed over here more or less. Now we can also see in the movie scene there is a huge mountain range in the background, and we can also see there is some kind of a forest in the background on the left. This forest is also still here. What we can also see is in the movie there has been a huge meadow on the left, and on the right of this picture today on the left we have the cornfield, and on the right we have this dusty sandy field. This really is a strange place. There's also a lot of trash on the left and on the right of the road, even though there are basically no cars here. There's also no fence anymore. On the left side there's only this weird side fence, and also a pylon on the left side for whatever reason. Here's Marty jumping out of his DeLorean, and that has been filmed from over here. Once again we can see this area changed a lot. Anyway, then I made a huge mistake because of course I also wanted to show you the Line Estates entrance, and when I was standing here I really thought this is the entrance that you can also see in the movie, but when I left I was quite sure, no, this is not the right dusty road you see in the movie.
Sorry about the that the portrait dropped.
A few meters further, I was standing here somewhere, and I think the real dusty road you can see in the movie is over here. So unfortunately this was a huge fail. I'm sorry for that. But well, it was 40 degrees outside and my brain was melting, so yeah, I'm sorry for that. But yeah, I think most of the other scenes were accurate, more or less. So I think let's leave this place. Let's drive back to the air-conditioned hotel room. So I'm back in my motel room. That was my shooting location tour of Back to the Future, my second shooting location tour from Los Angeles, and my second shooting location tour when it's 40 degrees outside. Jesus, it's really different to do that when it's so hot outside. You basically only have a time slot of like 10 minutes or something to visit all those locations, and after that, it really gets uncomfortable. You really have to go back to the car and switch the air conditioning on because, yeah, it's so hot outside and it's really not healthy to stand around there for like an hour or something. So, anyway, I will stop whining now. I have everything on video, and that's all I ever wanted. So, I really hope you liked my little shooting location tour. If you did, then you should give it a thumbs up. And you can also subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so you won't miss any upcoming video. Because this is not my last shooting location tour from Los Angeles. There will be a third and last one. And if you'd like to support me and my work, then please check out the Patreon link in the description. Then you will get all the exclusive information, for example, all the actresses of the shooting locations I showed you today. And also new videos before everyone. So you definitely should check that out. And yeah, that's it for today. I would say have a safe journey. See you next time from Los Angeles.
They say that Los Angeles is a really dirty city, as I would know for sure. So if you really like the filming locations of Back to the Future, well, I'll also use well, I'll also tell you about the DeLorean. Even though the DeLorean used as a time traveling machine goes up to 88 miles per hour with 1.21 gigawatts, as far as I know for sure. I'll even use this Hot Wheels DeLorean, even when I get out the Hot Wheels tracks. But before I start with the Hot Wheels tracks, I'm going to turn on the Xbox. Because I got something really cool to show you guys. I'm going to start with Forza Horizon 5. And usually it takes just a few minutes for Forza Horizon 5 to start. Don't worry. They said that on Forza Horizon 5, it may remind you of California, like out in the middle of nowhere, but it's way more different. It would look way more like Mexico. That's what I would precisely know for sure. Just to be precise. And while I wait for the game to load. See how the hood opens? Well, even the DeLorean on Forza Horizon 5 is going to look way more different. Admit, even though I bought a pack of 5 cars on Forza Horizon 5. You know the 5 cars from Universal Studios? Well, one from Jurassic Park, one from Knight Rider, and the 3 DeLoreans from Back to the Future. All 3 Back to the Future movies. One from Jurassic Park, such as the Jeep, and also the kit from Knight Rider. Besides those Hot Wheels tracks on Forza Horizon 5. Finally.
Welcome back, Thomas.
I'm at the garage. I'm at my cars. I'll start with the sword selection of the year. See that? That is the Back to the Future DeLorean, Back to the Future Time Machine 1 from Universal Studios. Of course, the DeLorean on Back to, of course, the Mark 1 DeLorean can go up to more than 88 miles per hour. Than on the movie. Alrighty. New seasonal events, seasonal PR stunts, and seasonal treasure chests. I'll start with Aerodromo Sprint.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Now when I did this up to more than 88 miles per hour, right now it can go to more than 100 kilometers an hour. I'm going to show you the dashboard. even though the lights glow on the circuits, and that's why and I meant to tell you that it goes up to 88 miles per hour. The DeLorean goes up to more than 100 kilometers an hour. Well, not more than 88 miles per hour. How silly of me. Even though the DeLorean can travel through time, but only on the movie.
400 meters. You will arrive at your destination. You have arrived at your destination.
I'm going to get the Mark II DeLorean when I go to the auto show. Okay, let's see. Time Machine 2. Ah, bingo! Even though the Mark II DeLorean did hover in the air, like only on the movie. And it comes with Mr. Fusion. Of course, the Mark One did come with the nuclear reactor. So the Mark II DeLorean comes with Mr. Fusion. Whenever it comes to fuel for compost, that's kind of funny right there. I'll even show you. The trunk opens like that. It even has gullwing doors. I'll even change up the license plate. So it's going to say out of time. Now that's kind of cool, isn't it? Even though Mr. Fusion does open. I'm going to start the engine. see, like on the original film, this one tells you where you are. This one tells you exactly where I'm going. This one tells you exactly where you are and where you were. Now the Mark II DeLorean doesn't fly on Forza Horizon 5, but only on the movie. Uh-oh. There we go. I just have to push it down. And just like on part 1 and part 2, roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. You know, the Mark II DeLorean was struck by lightning and destroyed the flying circuits, so it would not fly again. That's a light. That's what I'm trying to use. When it comes to flying through race. Let's do blow. Now the last car I'm gonna get from the auto show is the Mark III DeLorean. Ah, here we go. The Mark III DeLorean. See how cool the trunk looks with the cool looking tires along with the Mystic Fusion. So even though in part 3 the tires have been changed, you know the trunk doesn't open, but Mystic Fusion does. it'll be just like the license plate from the end of part one, and also the opening to part two, and also same with the and also with the same license plate from part three. Now I'm gonna show you what happens when I start the engine. Now the destination time tells about where you're going, and the present time tells you where you are, and the last time part of it tells about where you were. September 2nd, 1885. That's like 100 years to 1985. Even though after the DeLorean goes back 100 years to the future, it is then destroyed and to smithereens after it was destroyed by that train. Of course, the fuel line has been ripped, even on part 3. And even so long ago, there wasn't even a gas station back then. You know, there wouldn't be a gas station until the 20th century. First, first the black walls, now the white walls. Even though, whenever it starts, like on Forza Horizon 5, lights glow. Like on the circuit lights.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Always best to avoid hitting traffic
Arrive at your
vehicles.
destination.
So, anyways, about Hot Wheels and that Hot Wheels DeLorean. Well, I'll be able to do Hot Wheels tracks like sometime later. The DeLorean had been used as a time machine to go forward or back in time. Like say for the first the Mark One DeLorean had been used for a nuclear reactor, and the Mark II DeLorean time machine had been used for Mr. Fusion, and also to hover in the air. And the Mark III DeLorean had been used for to travel on train tracks, as far as I know for sure. Even though Back to the Future, the game, was made for is made for either Microsoft Windows, OS 10, PS3, PS4, the Wii, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and iOS, but we'll save that for a later review. Now, I've set up my Hot Wheels tracks for as far as I can tell. Just after, so that's what I was gonna prove to you just 3 years later. 3 hours later, I meant to say. Not quite. Not turned on, I suppose. There we go. Go! Don't worry, guys. Okay. Whoops. Not again. Dagnabbit. That happens. Well, what else can I say? I'm gonna have to figure out another way. Like, say, another example. Some other way. just working on a good, just trying to find another good one. Oops. Again. Perfect. I think we've seen enough for today's video. But if you guys rate, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, that'd be really nice. So, I hope you guys, so long.